Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. Oh, I'm so excited about the show today. You know, waffles are just a huge childhood memory of mine, and I found myself kind of getting away from waffles now that I don't have children at home anymore. But with grandchildren coming over, I've decided to get that waffle iron out and do some really fun recipes with it. So in preparation for the show today, I looked at things that maybe all of you would enjoy. How about a waffle that's made with ham and cheese and would just be perfect for a brunch or a ladies' luncheon? Sounds good. And then what about a really hearty, manly waffle made with cornbread and pulled pork? Sound interesting? And then finally, I know I've got you on this one, how about a chocolate chip waffle, warm with a little coconut sugar on the top and a big scoop of ice cream? I know you want to watch, so come on and let's get started. You know, waffles are just a dish that you can do any time of the year, and certainly the ingredients are always easy, and probably you might have accessible in your house, but the fresh market always has ingredients to do this out of a bag or a box if you don't want to go to this much trouble to make it yourself. But this is a pretty simple recipe. Flour, Gruyere cheese, how about some deli ham or any meat that you might have left over would work really well in here. Freshly grated Parmesan, a little bit of baking powder, sugar, and salt. So I'm just going to mix this up. And this is why the amount of baking powder that you use in this recipe is really going to make these really fluffy. All right, so I'm going to set that to the side and bring over my milk, and this is just whole milk. I'm going to add to that 1 egg, some vegetable oil, some melted butter, and all of our recipes are on our website at veryvera.com. And some cut up green onion. And just whisk that together. And in the meantime, I've got my waffle iron plugged in so it's getting nice and hot for this. Bring my flour mixture back, and I'm just gonna pour that together. This doesn't look like your typical waffle batter, but it's really gonna be good. So you just want to mix this, and this will be a little bit looser of a batter. Some of the other ones that we're doing today will be a little thicker. So you'll find when you're using your waffle iron that you have to kind of play around with how much is the appropriate amount to put in the waffle iron to do this. So what I'm suggesting to you is a heaping 1/4 of a cup. So if you've got the 1/4 of a cup measure, that works well. Also, if you've got a ladle, like this is just a sauce ladle, you could try that as well. So I'm going to take my pastry brush and just lightly brush a little bit of butter, because this helps with getting them nice and brown on the waffle iron. And this is that pastry brush that has the little level so it doesn't mess up your counter. I love it. All right, so I'm going to do a heaping 1/4 of a cup right in the center of the iron. And you see I've got it placed on a cookie sheet with a little bit of wax paper, because when this runs over, I'm not going to have a mess to clean up. So this is going to cook for about 2 or 3 minutes until they're golden brown. All right, let's check these out. Oh, they look so good. And don't worry if you've got a little bit of one that didn't go all the way over to the edges, because I'm going to show you a great way to garnish these. But I've prepared a sheet pan with just one of my cookie cooling racks in the center. And this is a 2 waffle iron. You might have a 4 waffle iron, but it's going to take a few minutes to get this done. So this is where that warming drawer really comes in handy, because you can put that in the warming drawer until they're all ready. So I'm going to get another batch going. And certainly I also want to recommend that this is one of those times where you can get that young person in the kitchen with you. You can lift the iron, they can do the batter. So come back with us after the break, because I'm going to get started on that cornbread waffle with pulled pork. Oh, it's going to be delicious. Welcome back, everybody. And if you're just joining us, I'm doing waffles today. And you know, you've probably got a waffle iron in your closet somewhere that you haven't pulled out in a while. I know I was guilty of that myself once my children grew up and moved away from home. I just didn't think about pulling the waffle iron out, but now the grandchildren are spending the night, and this is just a really fun instrument to use, just a piece of equipment, especially this one because it's just a 2 waffle size. But I've looked around and there's so many great recipes for waffles. So while we were away during the break, I took the ham and cheese waffles out, got them cooked nice and golden brown, and because it takes a few minutes to get these prepared, I put them on a cooling rack on top of a sheet pan, and now they're in a warming drawer. We're going to have those in just a little bit with a really unique garnish for those. The recipe that we're getting ready to make now is a cornbread waffle that's going to have pulled pork. So the other thing that I did while we were on the break was I got a piece of corn that I shucked and put on top of my stovetop grill. Got some great grill marks on that. That's going to be part of the garnish. So let's get started on the actual waffle. You know, Jiffy cornbread mix is our friend, and it's amazing. You know, every store always has Jiffy cornbread mix. It's always great. I feel like it's a real plug for them that the Fresh Market carries this product as well. But you're going to use a box of the Jiffy cornbread mix, 2/3 a cup of whole milk, and I've got my waffle iron heating up over here, 2 whole eggs, some melted butter, and some grated sharp cheddar cheese. And you're thinking cornbread waffle. I know what you're thinking. These are so good. I have more fun experimenting with recipes and coming up with things that I feel like all of you will enjoy watching and get some ideas. But you know, the fact that this is going to have pulled pork with it, I mean, this is a great supper idea. You can make the waffles ahead of time and just crisp them up at the last minute. But here again, this is a little bit of a loose batter, and I've got the waffle iron on top of a cookie sheet with some wax paper just in case it kind of spills over. And remember from the last segment, I used 1/4 cup as my measuring, and I'm doing a heaping 1/4 cup on the waffle iron. And again, these are going to take a couple of minutes to cook. So while those are cooking, I'm going to get this corn cut off the cob. So I've grilled it, it's cooled off now. You just want to take a sharp knife, and I'm just going straight down the edge. And the thing about doing this, it's just going to be a nice little crunch, and it's going to be an attractive garnish with the pulled pork. I've cut up some green onions. This is going to be really nice. And you know, the fact of the matter is it does take a few minutes to cook these waffles, but if you're entertaining and you've had to do a little bit of pre-prep ahead of time, just think about how easy it's going to be to put it together at the last minute and have these little sandwiches made. So as we go into break, I certainly want to recommend that if you have a grill or a green egg, this is the perfect time for that leftover Boston butt that you've cooked to have some fresh barbecue to go on this. Or even if you're making it for the very first time, these waffles could be the bread accompaniment for the sandwich. But I'm going to give you some suggestions of some barbecue places when we come back. But come back with us in just a few minutes because I'm going to get started on those chocolate chip dessert waffles. So come back in just a few minutes.
Ask Vera is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Laurie Cook in Augusta writes, do you have any advice on serving buffet style? I've got a demonstration for you, Laurie. In doing a buffet, you certainly want to think about the number of guests you're having. That way you know whether to do a one-sided or a two-sided buffet. So you want to draw the table that you're doing, decide where your plates are going to be, and then you start thinking of your dishes and what the containers are that they're going to go in and draw those. So you want to start with a filler first, the thing that you've got plenty of, and then move along with color being something that you consider. And whether it's an entree, you want the entrees to be about midway the buffet line. You want your bread and your dessert to be at the end of the line. And then you want to clearly mark the food on your buffet with some really cute ideas for tent cards, and be sure to put a really pretty flower arrangement in the center. Laurie, I hope that answered your question, and if you have a question for me, send it to askvera@nbc26.tv. I want to remind you that if you're looking for great pulled pork to go with those cornbread waffles, let me recommend Big Daddy's Bar and Grill right here in Augusta, the best pulled pork ever. Welcome back. Those scrumptious cornbread waffles are going to be the next thing on your supper plate. I really hope you'll try these recipes. And we got those finished. And I also want to certainly shout out to these great barbecue places that I recommended during Ask Vera. If you don't have time to do your own pulled pork, you need to check those out. So now we've saved the best for last. We're going to do a chocolate chip waffle. Be great for a birthday party. It's awesome for dessert. It's just any time of day, one of these things that you could even do for breakfast. So very simple recipe. I've got some light brown sugar, melted butter, 2 whole eggs, and some vanilla extract. So we're going to blend all of this up with the wire whisk, get that nice and blended together. And then the dry ingredients for this are flour, baking soda, and salt. And you know, the home ec teacher comes out in me when I do this sort of thing, because even though it looks real attractive on food TV to see all the ingredients measured out and the great bowls that Emily helps me with each week to get all the ingredients measured out, it also makes you not get halfway through a recipe and realize you don't have an ingredient. So I highly recommend making sure that you do that. Okay, so now we're going to add in the flour, the baking soda, and salt, and then old-fashioned oats. So don't get the quick oats, get the old-fashioned oats, and mini chocolate chips. And the reason we're using the mini is because it really looks a lot more attractive finished, because you're going to have a lot of speckles of the chocolate chips in these waffles. All right, this waffle maker over here I'm using now for the 3rd recipe, and I've not done a thing to it. It is just the easiest waffle maker to work with, and we're going to actually be giving one of these away. So during the next segment, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how you can win the waffle maker and a bunch of other things to go with it. All right, so you've got a nice dough, and now I'm going to use just a big tablespoon to dip that out. So right into the center of the waffle iron. And you see what I mean? This dough doesn't run at all. Now you're just going to shut that lid, and this one is going to take several minutes. So we're just going to let that cook for just a minute. All right, let's check these out. Oh, they look so good. All right, so this is where you're just going to kind of get a feel for how much batter. This one turned out really good, and then this one maybe should have had just a tad more batter, and actually it's tearing up just a little bit, but that doesn't matter because you're going to cover it up with some great ice cream. So let's do the scoops again, and I'm going to put just a little bit more this time on this side. Oh, it just smells so good. I mean, it's like just a big warm chocolate chip cookie, which we all have our favorite ways to eat chocolate chip cookies. So as you can see, this waffle maker is coming in really handy for a lot of different things. We've made something that you can serve for breakfast. We've made something that you can have for supper or a nice lunch. And now finally a dessert or a real sinful breakfast. So come back with us during the break, and I'm going to put all of these things out for us to decide how is the best way to display them. And we're going to have a little waffle party. So come back with us in just a few minutes. The best time today, and obviously you can see that Waffles are just taking over the kitchen today, but it's been quite a lot of fun, and I hope you'll look at these recipes at VeryVera.com because you can get some really great ideas. You can embellish these things any way you want to. So I'm going to give you some suggestions, and I hope that you'll enjoy serving this for one of your next events or occasions. While we were away during the break, I finished the chocolate chip waffles, and they just turned out terrific. They look so good. So we're going to start with the first thing we made today, which was the ham and cheese waffles. So I've put just a little bit of spring mix on the plate, and I'm going to put 2 of the waffles down on the plate. And the ham that we used was just the deli ham that you can pick up right there in the fresh market. So I'm going to just kind of roll up what I didn't chop up to go in the waffle, just as an embellishment on the side. And then the other thing that I did while we were away was I cooked an egg in the waffle iron. Obviously you can see that it's very much an Eggs Benedict style with a very loose yolk. But what we're going to do with this, and I'll do one with and one without, I'm going to break the yolk and it'll just spread out on the top of this waffle. And of course you would be doing this really piping hot, you know, to serve, whether it was plated or if you did this as a buffet, it would look really good. I'll sprinkle a little bit of the Parmesan cheese on my lettuce, but that is beautiful, ready to go. Very different, very unusual. Okay, then the next one we did was the cornbread waffle with the pulled pork, and I gave you some suggestions there of where to get your pulled pork. So gosh, this just smells terrific. So I'm going to treat this like a sandwich and just fill the center. And if you had your favorite, any kind of spread, if you wanted to put mayonnaise or mustard or anything on the top of the waffle before you put your meat, that would be fine. I'm going to put my lid on it, mix up my scallions, and those will be just put on the top, a little bit of cheese, and then garnish with my favorite barbecue sauce. And that's quite a lunch. And then finally, we've got the chocolate chip. Oh, I love this. So good. I've got a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and then I'm going to top it off with some coconut sugar from the salt table. And if you've not tried the salt table, you need to do it. This is just the icing on the cake, needless to say, using this really great sugar, and you can go all the way across the plate with it. It'll be just delicious. And then I've got some maple syrup, and I'll take that, just pour a little bit of that on the plate too. What a beautiful way to end a meal with a dessert waffle. Okay, so I've got a surprise for you. We're doing a giveaway. We want you to like us on Facebook, like our contest post, and what we're giving away is this beautiful refrigerator bag from the Fresh Market that's loaded with some of their pancake mixes, syrup, coffee, a $20 gift card, one of the pastry brushes that we love to use on the show from Bed Bath & Beyond, the actual Chef's Choice waffle maker that I used today, and then you want to be in the latest style by wearing your VeryVera Show t-shirt. So you're gonna wear that all around town. All of these things we're gonna give to somebody. So again, like us on Facebook, like our contest posts, comment on the town where you're watching the show, and then share this post with your friends, because we really want somebody very special to win this great gift idea. So, beautiful display of food, lots of new ideas. I want to give a couple of shout outs today. Number one, to my friend Robbie at Second Time Around in Columbus. You know, one of my hobbies is going to consignment stores when I go to all of these different towns, and I've had so much fun shopping in her store. And I want you to remember that no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I hope you've got a great taste buds flowing from what we've done on the show today. I want to invite you back to join me again next weekend for another episode of the VeryVera Show. I'm going to jump in on this chocolate chip waffle.